I'm going to go through 10 new age self-help trends that are doing more damage than good. The first is the cult of personality in spiritual circles. This is where we end up following gurus, worshipping them as our idols. The gurus themselves encourage us to do that because they're supposedly more spiritually enlightened than we are. It's a very worrying trend because it takes us away from connecting deeply with ourselves, and we end up following others and giving up our own personal sovereignty in the process. The second worrying trend is the commercialization of mindfulness and yoga. They've ended up being stripped of their roots as they become more and more popular all around the world. And I think that the more people are being trained in mindfulness and becoming yoga teachers, the more it's becoming disconnected from its roots in some very ancient philosophy and traditions. The third one is the pursuit of psychedelic enlightenment without real grounding. Psychedelics are becoming increasingly popular. They are an incredible thing to use to really connect with the self. What I'm seeing is that more and more people are using them to shortcut their approach to enlightenment. They're using that psychedelic experience in and of itself as the thing that's going to teach them everything they need to know. I think what we need to do is combine psychedelic experiences with a much more grounded approach to self-development that we commit to over a period of time. The next one is the promise of quick fixes on your path to enlightenment. So many new age programs and methods are promising that instant fix. You can suddenly manifest what you want. You can create a step change in that relationship with who you are. I think it's important we don't put constraints on ourselves. We can go through very powerful moments of change, have wonderful experiences, but we need to recognize that this pursuit of enlightenment isn't something instantaneous. It's not something that we're just going to get super quickly. It's something that we need to commit to over the course of our whole lifetime, while recognizing that there's no destination to get to. There's no quick fix to arrive at. We need to respect the journey itself while respecting ourselves and just take things a little bit easy. The fifth trend is the overemphasis on the law of attraction. The problem with this is that we end up focusing on materialism as a vehicle for our personal development. We try to manifest wealth into our lives. And I think that it risks confusing spiritual growth with spiritual materialism. We end up measuring our success in personal development by our ability to manifest material things, which really takes us away from what personal development is really meant to be all about. The sixth trend I'm seeing is the idealization of minimalism as a path to enlightenment. Now, minimalism on the face of it is a wonderful thing. It encourages us to let go of our attachment to material objects. The problem comes when we start to build up our identity too much, connected with minimalism. It starts to define who we are, which I think can keep us really stuck. We end up ignoring the rich emotional depth that can come from our relationship with objects, from the history of those objects and what they really mean. I think that when we embrace minimalism too much, it becomes its own rigid form of identity. The seventh one is the overuse of the quantified self in self-improvement. This is where we measure everything that we can when it comes to health, wellness, personal development, even sleep. I'm a victim of this myself. I had a Garmin smartwatch which just measured everything. I was using it to measure my sleep every night. I used to have a big problem with sleep. I started to get really on top of it. I was sleeping really well. And then the fact of checking my sleep every morning created so much anxiety. It stopped me from just relaxing and not worrying too much about these things. It started to be that the data on my smartwatch was telling me how I really felt, which was just an absurd way of living life. So I had to give up the Garmin watch. I've given up all of the tracking so I can just live with much more flow and grace. The eighth trend is the push for digital nomadism as the ultimate lifestyle. So I feel like our desire to be nomads, to always be moving around, comes from a desire to be free, to not be constrained by place. I was a digital nomad for many years, and I realized that I needed to slow down and make a commitment to one place. Even though I still travel a lot, move around and get the benefits of freedom, Really needed to commit to one place to connect with the society. I feel like a core part of spiritual development is shifting from thinking so much about yourself and your own needs, the desire to move around, to actually slowing down and getting to know people around you, building relationships over time, contributing to local communities, being part of the fabric of society. This push for digital nomadism is taking us away from that, seeing spiritual hubs all over the world where people are coming and going and not really connecting with the place. So I feel like there's a real trend for embracing digital nomadism. It makes sense. But we're losing something really special in the process. The ninth one is the glorification of waking up early. I have seen so many health and wellness gurus saying that once they started waking up at 5 a.m. every morning or 6 a.m. every morning, they were more productive, they got more things done, they became more successful. I think this really disrespects so many of us in the population that are night owls, people that have different circadian rhythms. We need to learn to listen to our bodies more, to make our own rules, to really connect with ourselves and to flow much better. If you're a morning person, waking up early will probably be for you. If you're a night person, that goal to always wake up early will do so much damage. We need to not be so rigid and just allow ourselves to flow much more. The final trend is the myth of being unique and special. This is a myth that I always believed for a long time. I used to embrace the things that made me unique. I used to think that I was so much more evolved than people around me. The problem that brought into my life was that when I faced challenges in my life, because I thought I was so unique, I thought that I was unique for going through these challenges. So I went through my challenges alone. I became incredibly lonely in the process. When I let go of this desire to feel unique, I started to look for the things that united me with the people around me. And I realized that the challenges that I'm facing are actually faced by so many other people. They might be facing the challenge in a slightly different way, but ultimately we've all been through very similar things before. I was able to open up with people and to share my challenges with others, get people's advice, to support other people in the challenges they're going through. And that started to connect me so much more with community. Ultimately, I feel like we're all in it together. We need to connect much better with each other. Letting go of the need to be so special and unique for me has been the key thing that opened me up to a whole different narrative around spiritual development. It's very much a part of being a part of the collective, supporting each other. And it's just helped me to connect with myself in a much more humble and grounded way.